Mr. Speaker, parents, educators, and students are feeling more and more anxious about this government's school reopening plan. A constituent in my riding, a single mother, shared that her child is literally sitting in front of the computer without a teacher to teach him. She said, "It is a shame that our government has placed so little importance on my son's education, and I'm afraid that the ramification of this will impact him in the long term, where he will fall behind in his academics and not be able to catch up to what's expected of him." Mr. Speaker, for 2 weeks, this mother has been struggling to find out when her son will actually start his classes. She even reached out to the Minister of Education and hasn't received a response. Mr. Speaker, will the Premier tell the House what measures he will actually take to manage the chaos of virtual schooling so our students can finally start their school year? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Minister of Education.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. It was this government that announced $36 million to hire principals, to staff, to manage and create accountability for our virtual schools. Let's just remind members opposite what we've done during this pandemic. We've created a concurrent online learning program that has never existed in schools before, with the exception of high school online learning courses. We've literally created a concurrent delivery of education in addition to in class. That is something we should be proud of as a province, not for government, but for the people working in the front lines who are trying to make this work. An extraordinary challenge of a pandemic and a recession that is impacting the ability of school boards largely to get access to supply. The Ontario College of Teachers on Friday put out a notice to retirees to come back. We need our educators to work with the school board and to come back to help us fill the shortages that exist within our board.
Order.
Speaker. It is why we should all be, I think, pleased to note that over 2,000 net new educators have been hired, hundreds in Toronto, benefiting the in-class and online experience, and we'll continue to invest to ensure it is strong and
Supplementary question.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. In case the minister hasn't noticed, they have created a mess in this province in our education system. This government had months, literally half a year, to prepare and fund a plan that works for Ontarians. As more and more schools are declaring COVID outbreaks, including one in my riding as of this weekend, their parents are switching their kids from in-person to virtual learning because they have no other option. But parents are being told that they will be put on a wait list extending to next term. One family wrote to us, and I quote, "Right now it feels like we're left to figure this out on our own. The government didn't ensure that families like ours are able to start school and give our child the education that every child in Ontario deserves." Mr. Speaker, parents who are trying to return to their jobs are now being forced to deal with this virtual mess created by this government. Parents should not be on a wait list to see if their kids will be able to get an education. Will the minister tell us when will he start listening to parents and educators in the province and finally provide a fully funded plan with enough resources like educators for our children? Thank you.
Thank you. Minister of Education. Minister of Education.
Well, thank you, Speaker. We did listen to parents. It's the basis for why this province uniquely has an online learning option where we've set a standard that is rather high. 75% of all classes, the 300 minutes of instruction, must be delivered live, synchronous learning, Zoom-style learning, a method of education delivery that was fundamentally and philosophically opposed by that member and all members opposite. And it is an element of curiosity, Speaker. They've come around to online learning. They opposed it in the negotiation. They opposed it in the spring, and now when parents expect it, they're on the bandwagon trying to champion it. You should have been there for parents in the spring. You should have been there in the fall. And this government will insist we will raise the bar, expect the best, and defend the interests of all students who expect the very best of learning. We will be there for students. We will ensure it is safe, but most importantly, that the quality of learning remains sound in all parts of our province.